goodness, then we said, what is going wrong? Why this task? Big word for me also, propensity. Let me share with something that I call the ABC syndrome. And I look it up. The syndrome is a set of symptoms. What are the symptoms here? Why does this happen? Now I'm going to describe to you nearly an incredible thing. It's so incredible, I think you will not believe me, but I believe you, it's true. Namely that I have 2 years running during my student school practice teaching. During the same week, gone to the same school and found my students at exactly the same points in the curriculum. And this was the point. So I arrive at school. Oh yeah, how's it going? It's fine. How's it? No, well, you see, the children have been, this is grade 8, the children have been doing equations, and they have now done all the equations. They wrote a test and they did very well. And now today we are going to do the chapter, that's not the word, the section that says X's on both sides. Now, but because I am there and she knows I will not like it if she's going to teach it to the children, she is just going to give them the problem and see what they're going to do. Okay? Exactly the same 2 years running. Exactly the same page in the same textbook. I'll come back to the textbook. I'm down here, number 7. I'll go back to the previous. There. And so here we've got this student teacher, enthusiastic. She taught this. They wrote tests. They did well in the test. And now today they're going to show Mr. Olivier how great a teacher she is. And not a single child can say boo or ba. They can do nothing. They do nothing. Not one single child says, let's try trial and error. Is X1 and test it. Okay, you see why I call it the ABC syndrome? This textbook is written by ex-students of ours, and they give the teachers exactly what the teachers want, namely to break the learning material up in small little pieces. So this chapter has these sections. Section 1, intro, very quickly what it means, very quickly drawing a table and finding the solution in the table, and one reverse flow diagram. The second section says exactly that. I didn't change it. Equations of the form AX is equal to B. It is followed by 2 worked examples, which says you divide by A. And then 20 sums, 10 for homework. Then equations of the form AX plus B is equal to C. Worked examples which clearly says subtract B, divide by A. Then, of course, more than one X, then brackets, then fractions. And they can do everything. And here we are. Mr. Olivier has arrived, the day of truth. And nobody can do anything. I think it's an absolute tragedy. Do you know what, now talking autonomy, it's what we do to children with such teaching and such textbooks? I mean, our children have the worked examples. They've got 10 problems for homework. They practice. They're diligent. They undertook to learn it, so they learn it. They do well. But they don't know mathematics. How can it be that we do? What do you think? Well, I'll tell you what I would expect of my children. I would perform with my children. I felt that I would have taught every section there was an opportunity to do some of the most basic mathematical thinking that there is, namely, on day 4, when we get the problem, 3x plus 2x is 15, we say, difficult. How do we do this? Well, of course, we wait for teacher to show us. But surely the answer should be, but goodness, yesterday and the day before I was so good I could do everything. Now suddenly in one day I've gone from a genius to a moron. But surely it's part and parcel of doing mathematics is when you get something like that and now you say, yesterday I could do it, today I can't do it. So how is today's different from yesterday's? So yesterday's was easy, so all that you have to do is to change today's new stuff so that it looks like yesterday's stuff. Is that not obvious? Well, I believe that if we're not teaching this like that, we're not teaching them any mathematics at all. I would expect them, so I'm not on the right page anymore, previous, I would expect them to say, well, this is difficult because the x's are on both sides. When the x was on one side, up to now, and we did it in the test, we could easily do it. So the clever plan is to, what can we do to get the x's all on one side? I didn't even say left-hand side, but okay. Is this enough? You know, have I made a point? I think it's a tragedy the way we break content down in such small pieces and then practice each little small piece and hope that everything will go back together again. But in the meantime, we've disempowered our children with no independent strategies to solve any problem whatsoever. But they couldn't solve it, it was a problem. Okay, this was examples of my students' work. 2 dice, grade 6. And here we go. You've got a 2 dice, and again we add the 2 at the top. So it says, complete the table below of all the possibilities we can have. 2, 3 examples. Okay, surely they can all do. So what is inviting or challenging or engaging here? I think very little. So they complete all that for no reason whatsoever except that the question says complete the table. And then we ask questions, how many possibilities are there? How many times can you get a 5? What's the probability? What's the time? And then we come with the last question and says, on which number would you put your money? But surely that's the only interesting question around, is it not? The dice can fall on a 2 or a 3 or a 4 or a 12. Which one will occur most? Pure mathematical question, gambling question, on which one would you bet your money? Why all this top nonsense? It's absolute nonsense. First of all, we do not let children, any mathematician must decide himself what representations, etc. you want to choose. I can find out how many possibilities there are by making a systematic list or a tree diagram or a whatever. Why must they shove the two-way table down my throat? And this is now supposed to help me. But I should have made the decision. The children should have made the decision. But we take all the decision makings away from them. So it's this. I think this is the old syllabus, matric, linear programming exam. It's genoeg, half a minute. It starts again. It is A and B and C and D, and the real question counts 2 marks, and all these other little questions counts all these marks. But they also don't even let the children choose X and Y. We say, produce an X of type A, Y of type B. And when they finish this, we say they can do mathematics and they qualify to go to university. I would have loved to do one last transparency. Mr. Right? 1.5 minute? Okay. There's some stuff went before this, but I just want to talk about this model of teacher change. And so it is. We think that we're going to change teachers' beliefs with our workshops, and then they're going to change their classroom practice, and then the children's learning outcomes will improve. Their language is so good, I cannot speak like this, so I must flash it. I said, when our enthusiasm was matched only by our arrogance, many curriculum workers seemed to take for granted that since their ideas were such very good ones, they would be widely implemented. Now, sadder but wiser, we are prepared to admit that the implementation of curriculum change is a complicated business. Okay. I'll just flash and say that doesn't work like that. Teachers don't just change their beliefs, etc. So, Guskey showed that teachers first want to see that it works before they will change their views. So a lot of quotes there, and there is then basically a different view, changes in the classroom practices. I think I'll stop there and say, I think our work. No, I must just go on. And then Paul came and said, no, it's not that the one depends on the other, practice on beliefs or beliefs on practices. They are interdependent and develop together. These two arrows. There are two ways to work with it. That is very important. And if we work with teachers, it should be a guiding light for us. The way we work with teachers, we should be trying to work with teachers in their classroom. That is the locus of change. In their classroom, on activities that they can make work and that they can see work with their children and that they value. And I think that is about the only chance that we have for any improvement in innovation. Thanks.